All right, so there might be a delay of some kind. According to this, my end, we're streaming.
It says starting, yeah.
We're starting.
I see a green light.
Green
so.
sounds good. Let's go. My name is Eugene Driscoll, and the guy up here in the little thing is Ethan Fry. you got to wait till you see this on my end. It looks awesome. We're from valleyindy.org. Again, I'm Eugene, and that's Ethan. And we're trying stuff out. We got the Great Give coming up May 3rd and May 4th from 8 a.m. May 3rd until about, 36 hours after that the next day, where you can donate to the Valley Indy. And we want you to donate to the Valley Indy during the Great Give if you can. We'd really appreciate the help. We need it. You'll also be able to donate to a bunch of other nonprofits that benefit during the Great Give. And we're trying this stuff out because we want to do a 36-hour webcast during the Great Give, during which we'll bring in nonprofits, and they'll talk to you about what they do for the community. And you'll also learn how you can help them that day by making a simple, online, secure donation. One thing about the Great Give, one or two people have contacted me over the last year, and they say, like, well, I just want to send you a check directly. I don't want to go through the Great Give because they take a cut of some of the money. But no, please, the Great Give is the way. We're a two-person. This is our entire newsroom, me and that man in the box up top. So we don't have really the time to process payments, 100 payments in a day. We can't do. That's what it was last year. They also, the Great Give gives us a list of everyone who donated. You know, they send out the tax deductible notices. It's all stuff that we can't do on our own. And so we're really asking you during the Great Give to give. So this is the equipment. Hopefully it's working. We got new audio equipment, an old camera, and I got to say a huge thank you to Russell Gillette of Shelton for coming by this morning. We've been trying for weeks to try to figure out how this stuff works, and it's been an abject failure. We couldn't get the audio to work match the video. I was like reduced to tears over the weekend. I skipped my niece's birthday party
How dare you?
to try to figure out this stuff, and I finally realized it was beyond my capabilities. Russell comes in here, and within 2 hours, he gave us something we can use. So thank you, Russell. Thanks to Chris Bowen, longtime reader, first-time caller. But he hooked us up with Russell, who we know through Twitter anyway. So it was just really cool to have help like that. So I can't thank Russell and Chris Bowen enough. And as I choke to death, because, of course, we do this live and I can't talk. But another thing that we got coming up, this is kind of huge. I don't know how many people are actually going to watch this, but other than us trying to see if it worked. But we're going to create a podcast called Valley Sports Rewind. And the host, at least as of today, is Mike Kenichi. Hopefully Mike was really excited. We had him in there today, too, talking about this idea for a podcast. So we're scheduled to tape our first one April 22nd at 10 a.m. We'll record it and then post it. So you'll be able to hear that on valleyindy.org. And going forward, WNHH in the city of New Haven, an FM radio station. So it's going to be a show like it sounds, Valley Sports Rewind. You know, Mike is a expert on the local sports history here, and that's going to be the topic of his show. So I'm really looking forward to it. What do you think, Ethan? How's that box?
It's cool. I'm excited. Hopefully
What happens if I try to?
Hopefully you could still see me moving.
You're still moving on this end. You're waving. You're waving.
Far out.
So let's
the
talk
camera's
about.
not frozen then.
Let's talk about stories we're going to cover or meetings we will say we're going to attend and then skip because we're stuck doing this stuff. That's another thing. If like you provided information or we interviewed you for a story within the last couple of weeks, I'm thinking there's a bunch of derby stories I just haven't got to. This is why we've been trying to figure this stuff out. You know, the Great Give is a big deal to us. It's like 10% of our budget if we can do what we did last year. So we've been trying to really concentrate on getting this stuff to work. So that's why I haven't been writing as many stories. But we do have a navel gazing Monday at 9 a.m. on valleyindy.org and on WNHH in New Haven, 103.5 FM. We've got a pre-recorded interview with a gentleman who is suing the city of Shelton on a First Amendment lawsuit. Ethan, why don't you put on your F. Lee Bailey hat? Tell us what that's about. Or put on that ratty Mets thing.
I will.
What's the history of that
let's
hat?
Go Mets.
Forget. What's the history of that hat?
My 2 nephews gave it to me for Christmas, so you got a problem with that. You
In
can take it up with
1970?
them.
Like what?
2014, probably. I don't know.
Oh, really? All right.
I'll get some woolite on it over the weekend.
Very
for
touchy.
you.
I've worked with this guy for years. I don't know anything about him.
Anyway, the Shelton resident, Jerome Bloom, he's a member of the Freedom from Religion Foundation based in Wisconsin.
Freedom from religion. Okay.
Yes, dedicated to the proposition that church and state should be separate, as the First Amendment says they should, and he saw that in Constitution Park there was a display of angels every December that the American Legion puts up.
And I'm just going to interrupt. If you want to know the rest about how his lawsuit came about, we have a 40-minute interview with Mr. Bloom that'll air Monday, 9 a.m. on valleyindy.org and WNHH in New Haven. So that's coming up Monday. And, we could go through our whole list, but the more I think about it, all right, so here's some highlights. One thing that's going on next week is the Derby Tax Board, officially known as the Derby Board of Apportionment and Taxation.
Boat.
They have their... Oh, man, I lost it again. Oh, wait, hold on. Here, I got to bring up my PDF. Judy Chevchek. I don't know how to...
Sefchek, I believe.
That's what you say. I think
that's what Jody Mosder said, so
but,
I'll trust her.
They are starting their meetings next week to receive presentations from the various departments and entities in Derby that receive taxpayer money. What happens is the police commission or police department comes in, and the chief will go through, here's what I'm spending next year and here's why. And then it's the opportunity for the members of the board to be like, well, why? So that starts Tuesday, April 12th with first budget meeting in Derby.
And in Derby, it's that board that has the control,
they're the ones,
final say.
Doesn't go to the Board of Aldermen, doesn't go to the people. It's BOAT who are elected to their positions. The first group is actually Housatonic Council Boy Scouts. They get, I think, a small allotment of money each year from the city of Derby. They're doing 6:30 to sort of update, I assume, the city about what they do with their funds. Public Works comes in at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. The police department comes in 8 p.m. April 19th. The Board of Ed.
Yeah, it's usually the big one.
The Derby School Board comes in 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, April 26th. So this will continue the whole month of April. They're scheduled to adopt the preliminary budget by May 5th, May 6th, right around there. So that's the story and budget and the budget story in the city of Derby. What do you got going on, Ethan?
Ansonia, pretty much the same thing, except due to a charter change a few years ago, the Board of Aldermen has the ultimate say over the budget in Ansonia. So they had a meeting with the Board of Ed. Was it this week? I think it was this week. No, it was last week, March 31st. We recorded the whole thing. It's on valleyindy.org if you want to see it. The Aldermen's Finance Committee is continued. They have a couple more workshops scheduled, 6 p.m. Wednesday, April 13th, and 6 p.m. Thursday, April 14th. I'm not sure which specific departments they'll be talking to, but they have to they put together a recommendation, send it to the full Board of Aldermen, and they vote on it.
I'm totally not listening to anything you're saying. I apologize.
That's all right. And also Tuesday, the regular monthly meeting of the Ansonia Aldermen. Haven't seen an agenda yet for that. Also Tuesday at the same time, I don't know whether we might try to get freelance for this or not.
Freelance? What are you talking about?
The Shelton
begging people for donations.
The Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission is meeting. They're continuing their hearing about a condo application off of Long Hill Avenue that generated some opposition last week. And then Thursday, the Shelton Aldermen have their regular monthly meeting. Those meetings are generally less sort of eventful than alderman meetings in other towns, just because in Shelton the Republicans have an overwhelming 7-1 majority and have for probably at least a decade.
And that's it. Speaking of Shelton, right on the wall, I guess over here is Evening Sentinel from the 90s. And that's, is that the one? Loretti becomes 16th Shelton mayor. That's a Sentinel. I don't know. I guess I didn't put the date. Oh, November 20th, 1991. And then we have another. Now, we have no ties to the Sentinel. We just happened to break into somebody's house and we found these in the basement. This is another one.
What was the date on that?
This one is from November 22nd, 1992.
And what was the date on that?
November 20th, 1991.
Oh, okay, all right. So I thought they had changed the masthead in the space of
it is different.
10 days.
I think this one right here is after the
Post bought it.
Yeah. Although I always get different.
Because I remember
dates
when I'm walking around town and you occasionally see one of those yellow boxes on people's mailboxes, and that says, I believe, the Evening Sentinel. I think that was
or just Sentinel. I think I don't know. The paper had a lot of different names. It seems, but I'm looking. Oh, look who got married. A Batone. That's a big Valley name. Mrs. Batone. I'm afraid to say the names in case they got divorced. That's how cynical I am. I don't know, but let's see what was going on.
I just love how the lead story in a local newspaper is about the U.S. and Europe putting a lid on the trade war.
Yeah, and I'm looking.
It's
not. There's not a lot of local news in this particular one. It's all AP Wire, which you could do in those days.
Before the internet, that's how did you get your news except from the local paper and TV?
Yeah, here's one. The mayor takes a tough stance on outbreak of vandalism. This is by Ann Maglaris, but Mayor Thomas Hallahan wants the recent rash of vandalism to motor vehicle windows to end. This is a quote, I am sending a letter to the Board of Aldermen asking them to offer a $100 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of anyone caught shooting out windows.
Wow, $100 was a lot of money back then, in 1991.
This isn't like Asian history. I graduated high school in 92.
I'm kidding around.
All right. Hallahan's letter was triggered by the vandalism, which culminated with about 30 incidents reported to police late Thursday night and early Friday morning. All right. Yeah, that's that. There's a Seymour story on there. Oh, First Selectman Robert J. Koskalowski has asked all town departments to submit lists of capital improvements or equipment they would like to have funded in the 90s. Oh, that's a boring story. The heck was what are you doing, Sentinel? But anyway,
the lead story on our site right now is about a capital improvement plan, but it was there was controversy about it.
Well, not even controversy. It was a discussion about it. Not that
he solicited That's like a story about, hey, the fire marshal filed his report in the clerk's office today.
There's a brief about the Ansonia tree lighting too. But anyway, I think that probably gives us enough to see if this worked in any way. And we'll post this on valleyindy.org so everyone can make fun at our low production value and lack of broadcasting ability. So with that, hey, have a good weekend, right? There's nothing else going on. We take Saturday and Sundays off, man. My wife's got to work Saturday. I'm having 2 children, not like I'm giving birth to them, but they're going to be with me in my care all by my lonesome on Saturday. So I don't care what happens in the Valley. But you're not going to read it on valleyindy.org because we have other things to do, and Ethan probably has a new Mets hat to. Are you watching that Mets hat?
I've Mets games to watch as well. The season's starting, man.
All right. Peace. Thank you very much.
Later. Oh, we're going to do that thing where we...
What?
After you hit stop...